This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell.
Believe that.
Presented by PWFempire.com with your hosts,
Steven,
Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live. Thank you all for tuning in this Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I am Jay, and we got a great show planned for you tonight. We have another edition of Push Repackage Release coming your way. And Steven, I'm going to let you know now, before you get your little shenanigans started, no, Xavier Woods is not included in this edition. So I'm letting you know straight up before you get into your mess. Do you well, it doesn't matter if you accept it or not. That's the way it's going to be.
Okay. By the way, I noticed a theme going on with our shirts. Evan, let me see yours for a second.
I have Daniel Bryan.
Okay, so you have yes, yes, yes. He has Steph, and I have no. So this is interesting.
Wow, look at that. Man, you see, I tried finding my actual Daniel Bryan shirt, the one that says yes and it has his face on it and it's like all stylized. I couldn't find it, and I thought that this would be an adequate replacement. You know, it's a thought that counts. The intent was there, so that's all that matters.
But you're still promoting Stephanie, huh?
No, see, this is Daniel Bryan. It's kind of like a two-way thing. I'm promoting Stephanie, and I'm also promoting Daniel Bryan, the influence that he has had on the wrestling industry, the scope and how wide it was, and how, you know, how influential he was.
Uh-huh.
Are you buying that?
No, absolutely not.
That's a Daniel Bryan shirt for people who don't know how to read. They just see like the font and the lettering, and they're like, "Oh, it's Daniel Bryan."
Yeah, you just know how to count. You see 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, it fits, right?
Yeah, same color and everything.
Same concept. Got it down. Okay. So, we've mentioned this name so many times already, and that's actually where we're going to get started on this episode of PWF Empire Live. WWE may be on the fast lane to... Well, they may be in the fast lane on the road to WrestleMania, but the entire wrestling world did stop for the purpose of paying respect to the career of one Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan returned on this past episode of Monday Night Raw, and unfortunately, that career that everyone was paying tribute to, the reason why they were paying tribute to it is because it came to an end. Daniel Bryan came out to the ring and he announced the WWE Universe. He basically said that the cumulative effect of so many concussions that he's been afflicted with throughout his career, they had taken their toll, and he would have to hang his boots up as a result. So Daniel Bryan officially retired, at least from an in-ring perspective, in WWE. Just watching this speech from him, and it went on, I don't even know how long the speech was. All I know is it extended beyond what Monday Night Raw usually goes, but I wasn't even really concerned with that. I was just, I found myself enamored with his every word, and I want to know from my co-host on PWF Empire Live, and if you're watching right now, whether you're commenting on YouTube, on Twitter, on PWFempire.com, what were your thoughts, and how are you reflecting upon Daniel Bryan and his retirement speech from in-ring competition?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised by this. I am surprised that he is retiring and not just leaving WWE. In fact, I'm still a little bit skeptical that he won't pull a Ric Flair and go wrestle somewhere else. But it does look like he's actually retiring. I think he is convinced that it's probably for the best. Given what I've read about the latest news he's seen of his brain and what he said yesterday, I think he's probably retiring for good. But I'm not surprised, and I do agree with what you said about being enamored. What I wrote on Twitter is that on this day, Daniel Bryan is as good on the mic as anyone who's ever cut a promo, because it doesn't even... It just struck me like how loved and how beloved this guy is, that people just... he connects with the audience in a way that I don't know that any other wrestler has ever done. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I do have a limited lifespan here. I don't know every wrestler's connection with the audience, but from what I can tell, every other major babyface has had either sort of a badass appeal or almost like an idol, like heroic appeal. Like if it's Hulk Hogan, he's sort of this larger-than-life guy. If it's Austin, he's a badass. But Daniel Bryan is a legitimate human being that just connects with people, and people just love this guy. Like he really connected with this crowd, and I think with everyone who was watching this. It was the most touching promo that I've ever seen, and it almost felt like this is such a shame, because you could see Vince McMahon looking, and I almost feel like he's thinking, well, damn, I probably had something with this guy. Probably should have made more of him, because this guy he's what they wish John Cena could be. And I know Cena, yeah, he does the Make-A-Wish. He's hugely successful, but Daniel Bryan is the hero that they wish Cena could be to people. I really believe that.
When you were talking about those baby faces and things like that, and what you were describing, immediately what popped into my mind was Dusty Rhodes, because I'm thinking of that Hard Times promo, and so many years after it actually happened, I watched it and I could still feel that emotion, and I could still feel that power and that magic in his voice. So maybe that could be somebody that we could relate to Daniel Bryan, if not overall, just in this specific conversation here. But watching Daniel Bryan, and this may sound weird to people, but Daniel Bryan has always reminded me of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, because I look at him and Goku is this very powerful person. He's lethal when he's going up against a villain, his opponent in that moment. He's very dangerous, but otherwise he has this childlike charm about him, and that's exactly what I see out of Daniel Bryan. He was out in the ring, and that one moment or that entire thing where he was talking about what he loved about the business, and then he went and he did like this through the ropes, and he was like, I love diving through the ropes because it makes me feel like Superman. Like, that's a charm about him that escapes mic skills or charisma and things like that, because you could look at Daniel Bryan, and even his fans, his most ardent, biggest fans in the entire world, they would have to admit that he's not the most eloquent speaker. If you're looking for someone to paint this beautiful narrative of a story and just speak with such eloquence, you're not going to get that from Daniel Bryan. But what you will get is something that is relatable, something that you actually can feel, something that is genuine, and that escapes, like I said, it doesn't matter charisma or mic skills or anything like that. And like, I'm a Daniel Bryan fan, and he at one point was my favorite in-ring competitor in WWE, like the explosive offense that he had in the ring. But I didn't even find myself crying or being emotional in that moment listening to his speech, because it felt to me like that was it's so weird. It didn't feel like a goodbye speech. It felt like I was actually watching a match of his, because that's how thrilling he was as a speaker. Like, I felt that was him at his best, and I don't even know if that makes much sense, because it's hard to take what I'm feeling inside and project it into words, but I felt something in that moment that I don't think that I could ever possibly feel again. And for that, I have to say thank you, Daniel Bryan, for an absolutely amazing career. You went out in a blaze of glory, and I'm glad that he's in a position where he could say all of those things, and you know, he stopped at a point before it was too late. So
yeah, and he's at a point in time where we don't have to say he didn't go out on top, or he did go out on top. He didn't go out at a time where he got so badly hurt that he'll never walk again or anything like that. And that's something that we want anybody to have to, avoid, if at all possible, because, wrestling is a very dangerous industry, and clearly Daniel Bryan felt a lot of that throughout his own career, and it's just such a shame to me that he had to retire. because we know he could have had more years. Selfishly, we all know he could have more years, and we all want more years out of Daniel Bryan because he's honestly so fun to watch. But everybody's career does have to come to an end at some point or another, and I know, from what he said, I want to start a family and everything, and, you respect those things, and you say, you know what, good. Like, he should be able to start a family and have an awesome life post-career. And so, as a human being, he deserves to have that for himself. And what he gave to us while he was in the ring is more than what most people can do in probably twice as much time, because he was just one of the most entertaining to watch. And, like you had mentioned earlier, he wasn't the best talker of all time, but that promo that he cut as a retirement, it was more of a speech. It was more of a letter. It was almost like reading a letter that he had just written, and he was a mixture of funny and it was realistic, and it was something that you could listen to and just say, yeah, I know what you mean. It wasn't structured in any type of way, and I like that. It kind of felt like a free form, and I'm sure he practiced what he wanted to say ahead of time, but he just kind of came off that way even in some of his other promos, and that's what I found enjoyable about him on the mic, was that he was always very realistic in his promos. It wasn't this facade that he was putting on, and I think we always need a bit of a change from that, and that's why Daniel Bryan was so great. He was the everyman, and I think Steven hit home with he's the hero that WWE wants John Cena to be, but you can't force that. That just happens, and that's why Daniel Bryan just happened, and that's why he basically had to get the crowd to come into the ring and get him the main event. It wasn't the typical he was planned to get there type of moment, and that's what made his push so memorable in a time where there's not that many memorable things going on. I think Daniel Bryan's push in 2013 and 14 was one of the best in years, and his career, albeit short in WWE, was really memorable. His career before, which was longer than his run in WWE, he had some really memorable matches on the independent scene, and I think he took a lot of that style into WWE. Obviously, his in-ring moveset was limited by WWE, but there was still that independent flavor that he brought to the table, and I think that's what a lot of people enjoyed about him too. So he was diverse and dynamic and something else. He didn't look like everybody else, and he was fun. Everything was fun about him, and he was my favorite while he was at his best these last few years. Obviously, it's too bad his injuries were so big in 14 and in 15. I remember after 14 wondering if he'd ever come back again. And then when he came back, it was nice, but I don't know. I felt like he was almost on borrowed time last year. It was scary. Every time, Kane, I remember him and Kane had a couple matches on SmackDown, and he was throwing him around, and I just kept cringing and thinking, man, I really hope this guy is okay to continue. But unfortunately, I guess those injuries just, you stack them all up and you say, okay, that's a lot to deal with. And concussions are no joke anyway. You see all these players in different professional sports and how they go from, one concussion to the next in a very short span, and it leads to this brain disorder CTE, which has hurt a lot of people, and has caused football players to lose their lives early and things like that. Now, obviously, maybe none of that is actually going on with Bryan, but had he continued his career for another 7 years, maybe that could be the case, and then he won't get to be a dad, or he won't be around to see his kids grow up. It's one of those things where you say, okay, my life is more important right here, right now, and he did his contribution and then some. So Daniel Bryan is a class act. He went out in the perfect way, and it was an awesome speech from him that sucks to see the last of him, I guess, for now, but I hope he does at least make some occasional appearances, and that would be really cool.
I'm just taking a little bit of time to reflect back on his career and all of the things that he did, and I think that the perfect way to sum it up is that video package that they aired at WrestleMania 30 for Daniel Bryan, because what I saw there was Daniel Bryan's transformation and you saw it in one consolidated piece that this is a guy who has transformed. He's evolved into a bona fide superstar. And you would look at someone like a Daniel Bryan and look at all of the things that he could possibly have had that people may deem negative or things that wouldn't work in his favor in WWE, but the fact that he transformed into a mega star, a superstar in the legit sense in WWE, and he made it work, I think that was amazing. And the career that he had, it's truly awe-inspiring. And I do love the fact that we got an opportunity to see Daniel Bryan at his best in WWE. Like, people get so caught up in the storyline and this whole B-plus player thing. Here's the thing. The whole B-plus player thing never would have been introduced if WWE didn't see something in Daniel Bryan. And I like the fact that all of that fan energy, that fury for Daniel Bryan to be a big star, that was taken and it was harnessed and it was brought to life in storyline. Like, we had those moments where Daniel Bryan brought the whole crowd into the ring, and him having to fight through the Authority, fight through Triple H just to get a hold of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship main event WrestleMania. So for them to bring all of that onto TV and let us live through that in very truly memorable moments, I think it's amazing. And I actually said months ago that I want that picture of Daniel Bryan holding up both championships in the main event of WrestleMania 30 after he won up on this wall. And damn it, I'm getting it up there now. Like, I think it has to be up there now just to pay tribute to somebody who truly is one of the greats of the great in this generation of wrestling. So, also, I was kind of I was going back a little bit on at whether I wanted to say this or not, but I am going to say it anyway. I don't give a damn who gets mad. I just want everyone who was talking trash about WWE, talking trash about their doctors, and all of the mess that was going on where people were basically attempting to force WWE's hand to bring Daniel Bryan back on TV, like demanding that they clear him and have him wrestle. Again, you heard out of his own mouth. The guy has issues with concussions. He has issues with his brain right now. And I just want people to think about that. If you were one of those people demanding WWE clear Daniel Bryan and have him wrestle again, calling their doctors hacks because they weren't doing it, think about what could have happened if they did what you wanted them to do. That's all I'm saying. But we are going to move onward and upward. At this point, we are going to discuss, or we're going to move to our buy or sell segment and discuss. Let's see if I can just pull up my damn topics here. What do we have first on the docket? AJ Styles. So, ever since AJ Styles made his way to WWE, actually before AJ Styles even made his way to WWE, every single move that WWE has made in this entire process, it's been heavily scrutinized, and people are looking at it with a very watchful eye. So, let's go ahead and jump right on that bandwagon right now. We're going to scrutinize the hell out of it too, whether it be positively or negatively. Don't know. I guess we will see. But AJ Styles, he's been in WWE for a few weeks. He's currently embroiled in a feud with The Miz and Chris Jericho simultaneously. So I want to know from my PWF Empire Live co-host and also the viewers of the program right now, do you buy or sell the way that AJ Styles is being portrayed on WWE TV right now?
I definitely buy it. It's been very good, you know. It's almost reminded me of The Shield, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because AJ just debuted. But what I feel like this is very carefully booked. Like, I really do. I feel like AJ Styles is one of those rare cases where they're actually trying to book him in a way that plays to his strengths. And like I said, it's only been a few weeks. They could easily fuck this up. But with The Shield, they kept it going for, 2 years of perfect booking, essentially, with some minor hiccups.
Yeah, minor.
Yeah, very minor hiccups. So I'm reminded of that. But again, I don't expect it to go that long. It's only a matter of time for something fucked up. But these past few weeks since his debut have been very good. He's been presented as a strong new star. He's been allowed to showcase his in-ring talent. He's been given all victories, he's been thrown in the ring with people who are going to put him over, such as The Miz and Chris Jericho, who put him over in different ways. Chris Jericho, because of his credibility, even though he loses a bit too much. We all know how that goes. And The Miz, because he's just a damn good mid-card heel. And like I said last week, the Miz is like the guy you call when you want to get a babyface over into the main event, because everyone hates The Miz, and he does a great job at making you hate him. So they picked the right guy to book him with, and I'm very excited for what happens in the future with him and Jericho. So you buy it?
Yeah. I do as well. And I really like how Styles has been featured thus far, mainly because I think that this is a safe bet. You know, you can bet that he's going to get over in this feud, like he's going to win out these matches, and you can basically guarantee that it's nothing too much for him. It doesn't put too much pressure on him as a performer yet, and it also doesn't overdo it to the fans, and it also doesn't book them into a corner, which is, to me, the most important factor. You don't want to throw him against people who, oh no, they can't lose, so we're going to have to just... AJ's new, so, you know, him losing is alright. Like, I really don't think so. I really think that if they want to establish that he can be a bigger deal, like, he might as well win the majority of his matches off the bat. You know, I mean, I don't think it's the best idea to have him lose. They've done that with enough people already, so I think it's a good idea that AJ Styles actually wins the majority of his early matches. Now, I'm not saying he needs to win every single one. I'm okay with, like, you know, Jericho, if Jericho did beat him dirty one time, was a complete heel as a result of it, pisses people off, blah, blah, blah. AJ comes back, wins the rubber match, for example, that's fine. I don't read SmackDown spoilers, so I have no idea what happens. But what I'm saying, in essence, is that it's all right if he lost a match in a dirty way and then, you know, gets the revenge. But I really think, for the most part, AJ early on should be winning the majority of his matches, and this is a good feud to do that. So I'm buying the way he's been booked thus far. It hasn't been too much. It hasn't been overkill on either side, and that's really important when it comes to starting somebody off. And I really think that they're putting him in a position that could be really good going forward.
I'm going to buy AJ Styles' portrayal as well. I like the way that they're utilizing The Miz and Chris Jericho. It's a really good partnership between those two, because I think that Chris Jericho provides the credibility in the ring, and AJ Styles beating someone of the stature of Chris Jericho, that's very important. And AJ Styles fighting against a foe in the form of The Miz with how great he is on the mic, that's awesome as well. And here's the thing, look, I know this is about AJ, but I just have to say, Miz is fucking awesome. If you guys did not know it, Miz is truly awesome. He is great at playing that heel that you just want that person to get their comeuppance. He's really good in playing his character and all of the stuff that comes along with that. And having AJ Styles go up against someone like The Miz to be his kind of entry feud into WWE, I think it's a really good showcase of him, and it could possibly provide him with a launching pad to move forward with. I think the only problem that we're going to run into from this point is if people get to a point where their expectations, I'm not going to necessarily say their expectations are high, because it's a weird situation, because you look at AJ Styles and you see, well, AJ Styles was a world champion in New Japan. AJ Styles was a world champion in the parking lot that he wrestled Kurt Angle in Florida, that Walmart parking lot. He was a world champion there. He, you know, and you look at the trajectory and you would hope that he would still be on that same level in WWE. So when you start playing the expectation game when it comes to AJ Styles, that's where some of the fault may lie, because we don't really know right now what AJ Styles' ceiling in WWE is, how far he has to go up, what is top for AJ Styles in WWE. Those are some questions that remain to be answered, but as far as what I'm seeing right now, I like it, so I'm gonna buy it. Next up, we have Kevin Owens on a bit of a losing streak. He lost to, well, see, I don't even know if we could go as far as to call it a losing streak, because when it comes to WWE shit, like, there are a million matches every weekend. They don't really pay much attention to stuff like that. But the fact is, he has been losing pretty frequently, more frequently than usual for a person like Kevin Owens. He lost to Kalisto on SmackDown last week. He lost to Dolph Ziggler recently, and he lost to Dolph Ziggler last night on Monday Night Raw. So here's the thing. Buy or sell on Kevin Owens going on these, his increasing loss count. Do you think that this is for the greater good? So that's the buy or sell. Kevin Owens losing, is it for the greater good?
No, I've seen this too many times. It's never for the greater good. In fact, I can't think of a time where a losing streak angle has really produced something good. Did Daniel Bryan go on one, or am I imagining that? Actually, I think he went on a winning streak. It was around the time of Hell No, when right before he broke into the main event. Was that a winning streak or a losing streak? It was a winning streak, right? He beat Randy Orton.
I'm the wrong one to go to for history lessons, so I don't know.
Either way, I really can't think of a time when this has worked. It works insofar as it makes someone over, because I remember it helps MVP get over as a babyface, but it didn't help him in the long run because he lost all of his credibility, and you can't establish a guy by having him lose this often. And I know what they're doing is they're trying to do damage control, or the fact that they booked this guy so shittily as they did ever since he beat Cena. It's just been going down and down and down, so they're trying to make it into a thing. This is what they do when they book someone as bad as they've been booking Owens. They just pretend like it's been an angle the entire time.
So you're saying they know what they're doing right now?
I know what they're doing insofar as they think that this is gonna work.
So what you're saying is, let's dispel this notion that Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing, right?
Okay, Ben Carson.
That's Rubio, Marco Rubio.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Ben Carson's he's the one who stood there.
No, if I was Ben Carson, I'd be falling asleep right now.
Ben Carson.
But
he stood there just to wait. Anyway, you're right.
Or you would just stand there and be like, "Is this an entrance, or am I just standing here?" And then Donald would come stand next to you and say, "Hey, Ben," and then Jeb would just pat Donald on the shoulder and say, "See you guys."
Little political break for PWF Empire Live.
Oh, I can't wait to see the chat blow up with who should win, or maybe people don't care.
I'm excited to see Trump versus Sanders at the Great American Bash 2016. I'm glad to see these two new young faces being pushed instead of typical.
Yeah, Trump has got to put Sanders over, man. It's about time.
Yeah, Trump had his moment back at WrestleMania 23. Come on.
Anyway,
he should be showing that as promotional footage. I mean, I think that's legit promotional footage. He should say, yeah, I helped shave Vince McMahon. Yeah.
Who was also an immigrant to MAGA. So, anyway. What was I saying? Shoot. Anyway, I think this is damage control. They're doing the thing where it's like, okay, so Owens has been fucked with credibility-wise, so we're just going to make it into a thing where he just loses so much that he gets pissed off, and then he goes on these rampages, which was good for a few times. Like, when it happened with Neville, that was good. It was okay when Ambrose beat him. Then it just started getting out of control. Ambrose beat him, 3 times? Then he lost to Kalisto, like you said. He lost to Dolph Ziggler twice. This guy has just been ruined so far. I mean, he's not beyond the point of repair, but they've definitely fucked over his credibility. He was so, in terms of the kayfabe tier list, he was nearly A+ after he beat Cena. I had him in A after he beat Cena, and then if you beat him again, I would put him in A+. And now, probably I'm going to drop him to B+. So, this is why I have the kayfabe tier list, because I want to see if these guys actually maintain the credibility that they're given. But anyway, no, I sell this. I don't think it's going to work. And like I said, I don't think Owens is completely ruined, but I don't think... This is a very mid-card storyline, right? It's a very mid-card storyline. You don't do this with guys who are about to enter the main event. So, I don't care for it.
Yeah, I'm going to sell the hell out of this, too. Because I look at this situation, and it's bad enough that you have a person like Kevin Owens losing, but then to lose to weak-ass Dolph Ziggler, that's absolutely disgusting to me. Like that's gag worthy to me. I'm not a big fan of Dolph Ziggler at this moment and his portrayal on WWE TV because he comes off as such a weakling. And this is the kind of stuff that you have to think about. Like Steven was talking about with the kayfabe tier list. You have someone, high when it comes to credibility being beaten by someone who's portrayed as a weakling, and it really leaves a sour taste in my mouth just watching all of this, because we live in an era where WWE is starved for credible heels that just project legitimacy, and Kevin Owens was one. He was the one. I look at that guy and I see realness in him, but this doesn't do anything to help that, and maybe I'm just to a point where I am unwilling to see what it could accomplish. But shit, I'm stubborn. I don't want to see what it's going to accomplish because I have to live through the here and the now. And what I see, I'm not liking it. Shit, we have people like Sheamus. They lied to us and tried to convince us that this fucking guy was a world champion, a mid-carder parading around as a world champion. And you have a guy like Kevin Owens who screams legitimacy, and you're treating him like this. So nope, not buying it at all. Sell.
Yeah, I'm selling it too. And the thing is, he still was so funny during his match, telling Michael Cole to shut up and saying to Ziggler, who's funny, not you, or whatever he said to him. It was like he gives you commentary from himself. He doesn't even need a microphone, and that's something that is so special. And I love stuff
like that non-mic work.
Yeah,
love it.
He's excellent with it, and the guy is awesome to watch. He's fun. He's entertaining. Even his Twitter is awesome. I mean, the guy is just one of the best, no doubt, and he defines what a real heel can be still in today's wrestling. But I mean, him losing doesn't do anything for that. Like, I remember a bunch of weeks ago when I said, because he had lost a match to Neville really quickly, and I remember saying that doesn't hurt him because then he beats the absolute shit out of Neville, and then Dean Ambrose comes out and he beat him up too. And I remember thinking to myself, or I don't even know if he beat up Ambrose, whatever. Either way, he kicked ass after that. And I said, you know what? That loss didn't do any damage to him because he still kicked ass. When he loses in a way that he lost to Ziggler this week and the week before and doesn't kick any ass, then you start to wonder about the legitimacy now. How seriously can we take him? And I know there's people, I remember hearing something about Road Dogg saying that wins and losses don't really matter or whatever. Like, here we go again.
Head writer of SmackDown, everyone.
Here we go again with that crap about wins and losses not mattering. Why would you
Can I just go on a rant here really quickly? This is the second time he's pissed me off, because the first time he was on Twitter talking shit about people stop watching and they complain, but they always come back. Look, as much as I like that new announcer, Mauro Ranallo, on SmackDown, I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes. I'm specifically not going back to watch because you said I would come back. So, there you go. Fuck you. Carry on.
Jay, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and so, I mean, that really does kind of sum it up. Wins and losses, though, are an important factor of pro wrestling. How the hell are we going to sit here and watch matches, especially TV matches, if they don't matter whether they result in a win or loss? So if the world champion loses 8 straight matches, Seth Rollins, and then wins at the pay-per-view, Seth Rollins, are we supposed to believe he's some credible champion, or is that a terrible title run? Because last time I checked, I like Seth.
According to a lot of people.
Well, see, that's where that's why I bring up the Seth Rollins thing, because a lot of people still jump to his defense, and it's like he was still tearing the house down at the pay-per-views. He was the actual Seth Rollins I wanted to see at the pay-per-views, but on the week-to-week shows, he wasn't booked to feel like he was legitimate at all, and it's like he doesn't always have to win with the help of a former talk show host. And not only that, but it's okay if he wins in heel fashion sometimes. That's not a problem either. But it's also okay if he does win at least the majority of his matches one way or another, whether it's clean or dirty. At least if he's winning the majority of them, I'd feel good. Because wins do matter whether they're on TV or not. And, Seth Rollins was still a favorite of mine, but that doesn't somehow justify his championship reign as now being good. just because somebody like Road Dogg says that wins and losses don't matter. For example, I just don't, and I'm not like just throwing one person under the bus because he's not the only one to say that wins and losses don't matter. I just find that really stupid. So, of course, I'm going to sell Kevin Owens losing because it doesn't do anything to help grow him. What helps to grow that guy is victories, and the victory he had over John Cena was squeaky clean, first of all. And secondly, as squeaky as it gets, man. It was unbelievable. So it was like there was a couple window washers outside just going at it all day. It was squeaky. But at the same time, where did it go from there? He loses the next couple of matches to Cena, and then, from there it's been a very up and down road. But when he's losing to Dolph Ziggler, who's been basically told to us that he's irrelevant and doesn't matter, it's a little bit of a scary moment. It's not an overreaction to say that Kevin Owens shouldn't have lost those matches, at least without kicking some ass, at least without doing something to get back at Dolph.
Okay, and our final buy or sell topic for tonight will be on the subject of the Dudley Boyz. I still can't get over the fact that the Dudley Boyz have not won the tag team championships yet in their most recent run in WWE, but could this turn possibly turn them back towards the direction of those titles? And that turn was the Dudley Boyz turning heel. They were featured in a tables match. It was the Dudleys and the Usos versus the New Day and Mark Henry, who at one point during the match said, "Fuck this, I don't want anything to do with this. Peace out, guys. You got it on your own." Well, yeah, after the match, the Dudley Boyz, they ended up turning heel on their partner. So, do you buy or sell this heel turn from the Dudley Boyz?
I personally am going to buy it because the Dudleys turning heel is the most refreshing thing that has happened since the first couple months of their return. I mean, when they were first back in their first couple months feuding with New Day and everything, I was really enjoying it, and I was really enjoying what they were doing. But then once that kind of just faded off, because let's be honest, it didn't really finish the feud. It kind of just faded away.
See, the thing is, they got their ass kicked so many times.
They did.
Like
now
what can we do now?
Yeah, there really wasn't anything left to do except maybe have them win at the next paper, like one other match, and then they would have had to win that next match. And that's okay. I guess the plans was to just keep the belts on the New Day. How can you complain about that at the same time? Because their title run has been excellent. So, yeah, I really don't care. But they kind of fell off the face of the earth either way. And now them turning on the Usos made me say, okay, now they are in the shuffle for the tag titles again, and now that they're heel, it really kind of switches things up, because they can say, I know earlier in their promo when they were trying to tag with the Usos, I know they were trying to say that nobody likes the New Day, but I just sat there and said, come on. Everyone knows that the majority of the people love the New Day, even if they're supposed to be portrayed as heels.
Hell, that was the real heel turn right there.
That's what I thought.
Like,
I'm like,
what you talking about, Willis?
You sure, Bubba? Yeah, I mean, come on. But yeah, so I'm all in for them turning heel. I like the way they did it. I liked when Bubba slapped insert Uso here in the face. I can't tell the damn difference between the two. Like, I know they made a joke on Raw about that they couldn't tell the difference. I'm like, you really can't. I still don't know. And they've been
here's how you can tell the difference, because one of them is married to Naomi, and that one has like an aura around him.
Does he?
Because that's
one
like,
of them needs to
like
get a boob job. That way we can tell the difference.
Yeah, Nikki Bella, she did the right thing by getting that done, because now we know. But
I'm telling you guys, like, one of them, he has like an extra pep in his step. He's married to Naomi, like, you have to. So
well, it's a amazing, right?
Boom, there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I buy it too. It was extremely obvious. I think the moment I saw that backstage segment, I'm like, they're turning heel. And I said that to my friends. I was like, I've been watching this too long. You could just tell. There's like something. It's almost ineffable. I can't really pinpoint what the hell it is, but something about that backstage skit was just like, yeah, they're turning heel. Because I think it's the fact that they had this segment at all. Because it's like, why would they have this segment where they just everything goes great. So, like, yeah, they're turning heel. But, yeah, I buy it because the Dudley Boyz have been basically doing nothing ever since they debuted after the New Day feud. So, and it's good because I think, like I said, the New Day is about time they turn face, so it's good to sort of balance it out that way. And I think they're lacking in heel teams at the moment, if I think about it, because... Okay, they had the... Alright, never mind. They had the League of Nations, then they had the Social Outcasts and the New Day. Did I repeat myself?
Are the Social Outcasts heel?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Why are they even a thing? Why are they a thing? What? I don't... So many unanswered questions here.
Well, Adam Rose beat Titus O'Neil, so that was a legit victory.
Titus O'Neil beat Tyler Breeze, so it looks like that credibility transferred over to Adam Rose.
Yeah,
I mean, what a story.
Adam Rose, he ended a winning streak that the announcers didn't even bother to mention on TV. So
yeah, I know, and that winning streak of 1-0, that's, I mean, why wouldn't you give that like so much credibility? I mean, okay, it might have actually been 3 or 4-0. I don't know.
Like from what I heard, I don't know, but I've heard, like, I know one of the co-hosts from the Raw post show. Shout out to you guys. Damn, so many names I gotta remember here. It was DJ Cass, and the reason why I forgot your name is because you have like 2 names. That's why. Don't think it was shade or anything like that. But yeah, DJ Cass. He said that he was on like a 3-month winning streak or something like that, which
really?
Is surprising because not at one point was it ever mentioned, and I don't know if that's true or not. I'll take his word for it. But back to the Dudley Boyz turning heel. I'm buying the hell out of this, if for no other reason, this one reason, because I got to hear Bully Ray Dudley scream, "Do you know who we are?" Giving those little feels of Bully Ray from TNA. That TNA, they'll get a pass from me just for that. If they did nothing right in their entire history, creating Bully Ray, taking a guy who was known to be a tag team wrestler for decades and turning him into a main event star, or at the very least giving him the opportunity to show off his talent at that level.
He's the JBL of TNA.
Yep, I think so.
Interesting
I think he was even
there. I could see it.
I think he was even a bigger deal for TNA, like, 'cause, I mean, small scale, but still, I think he was an even bigger deal for TNA than JBL was for WWE at their respective times. Obviously, it's a lot easier to be a bigger deal for TNA, but still, I mean, I really think he was like honestly the best heel in wrestling when he was at the top of TNA. He was doing an amazing job, and I wouldn't even mind if they explored it in WWE at some point, because he's in much better shape these last few years than he was, in the entire, you could say, prime of his career in ECW and WWF/E. I mean,
what did he call himself in TNA? Like Calfzilla or something?
Yeah,
like
Calfzilla, because I mean, he lost a ton of weight. I mean, he looked a lot better. He still looks a lot more like that right now. And Devon did the same thing. I mean, both guys just cut down a lot. It's how they preserve their careers. And honestly, those guys still have it in the ring. They're still fun to watch. They really haven't lost a step. And I credit it to the fact that they've kept themselves, they cut down and got in better shape, and so them as heels, it's awesome. And hearing Devon testify, whether he's a face or heel, is always awesome. So, double bonus.
Okay, next up, we are going to move on to what will be the main event of Fastlane to determine the number 1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which also means that we're determining one of the main eventers for WrestleMania. We already know one person, that is Triple H, right here with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. His opponent will be one of the men from the list of Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar. What's interesting to me about the way that WWE is building towards this match, it's as if Roman Reigns has taken a step back from the forefront of this build, and we're getting a lot of Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar build between those two specifically. So I'm interested to know what you guys think about what happened on Monday Night Raw between all of these guys.
Well, what a tease, right? I mean, if they're not giving us Brock and Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania, which I don't think they are, so I'm trying not to get my hopes up. But if they don't give it to us, then what the fuck, man? They're teasing us quite a bit here. I still think it's gonna be Bray Wyatt and Lesnar, but they might very well change the plans because I think this took me by surprise. The fact that they're focusing on Ambrose and Lesnar so much. I think maybe because they feel like that's the weakest pairing of the two. Because I mean, Reigns and Ambrose already have a backstory. Reigns and Lesnar already have a backstory, so they gotta establish Reigns and Ambrose. Lesnar and Ambrose. So maybe that's what they're doing, but yeah, I love this. I'm very interested in Ambrose right now, like the most I've been interested in a while. And he's showing like a lot of interesting character here. Like this is the sort of thing where you can establish someone as a credible guy without having him be
credible.
Without having him be like, not in the traditional sense, because there's different ways to do it. You could be credible in the sense that Brock Lesnar is credible, where you just beat the shit out of everyone and win every match. But you could also be credible in the fact that you could just you're so durable that you could just outlast the other guy, and that's the way they're going with Ambrose at the moment. They're going with this Iron Man thing, which is he never gets knocked down, and I think that's kind of cool.
I think it was more of the lunatic fringe focus, which I really loved. I'll go ahead,
really?
Jay.
I think ironically, yeah, he's kind of being a lunatic right now, but I think they're kind of going away from that because they haven't. Yeah, they've been playing like, oh, this guy's unhinged, look what he's doing, but like they haven't done the traditional like, oh, Dean Ambrose, what a wacky lunatic, Looney Tune, whatever the fuck they always say.
See, I think that they're putting a little twist on it because they're talking about how crazy he is. Like when he approached Brock Lesnar in one of the segments on Raw and like bumped chests with him, they were talking about how crazy he was there. But here's my thing. I don't know. It's such a weird situation for me to be in because they're doing a lot of things that I wanted them to do with Dean Ambrose, enhancing that character, but I still think that there's ways that they could go because I look at Dean Ambrose and I say, this guy is willing to be knocked down. This guy is willing to get his ass kicked, but I'm trying to think about, like, where's the strategy in winning? Like, you don't care if you get your ass kicked. You don't care if you get beat down.
He outlined the entire strategy in an interview on the YouTube channel.
Oh God!
So, I think I actually spoke about this last week too. Yeah, his strategy is basically just to outlast Brock Lesnar because he can only give you so many fucking suplexes before he just gets tired and then he gets vulnerable. So that's his strategy.
Yeah, and hopefully you're not dead at that point. Hopefully he's not dead at the point that Brock Lesnar gets tired, because what I saw on Monday Night Raw, like, I'm thinking to myself, what could have happened in that segment where Dean Ambrose got hit with the F5 if Roman Reigns didn't come out? Like, what could have happened there? Like, what was Dean Ambrose's ticket to actual victory? Like, when I look at this guy and I say he's a lunatic fringe, I want to see that more explored. Like, he gives him a punch to the nuts, and like, it was that the strategy? Like, I want to see a goodie bag of horrors. I want to see Dean Ambrose pull out a crowbar and hit Brock Lesnar in the kneecaps or some shit like that. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I want to see not just the fact that Dean Ambrose can get knocked down but get back up, but what are you gonna do when you get up? That's what I think is missing for me.
I think he just wanted to show how much punishment he can take, like that, how much he is capable of enduring, and yet still being able to get back up, still being able to kick out, still being able to continue onward. And I think that was part of to me, that's part of the lunacy, because you would figure most people, face, heel, whatever, are going to be done after one F5 or one this or one 4 German suplexes, and Dean's like, come on, bring it on.
Here's the thing, though. I could take an issue with this, too, because if you look at the story that was told in the main event of WrestleMania last year, Roman Reigns kept getting his ass kicked, but every single time he got his ass kicked and Brock Lesnar waged more offense against him, what happened? He had a big smile on his face, basically saying, bring it on. So this is the stuff that I look at when I'm like, WWE, you got to do more to make Dean Ambrose a lunatic, to set him apart from everyone else. Because if
Right.
we live in a state of like lawlessness in WWE where everybody is crazy, everybody is, wacky and all over the place, and they're sadists and they're craving pain and things like that, how do you step Dean Ambrose up from that level if that's the standard that's established for other people?
Yeah, and see, I think they like to try to make everyone seem crazy now for some reason. Like, why? I don't know. But I think they were trying to tell that same type of thing with Reigns at that point. They were just, oh my God, he's out of his mind because he sees the blood. He's out of his mind. Like, why? Like, why is he out of his mind? Why isn't that just a badass thing? But like, we also can't change the reasoning. We can't say it's badass if Reigns smiles and doesn't care, but it's crazy if Dean Ambrose does it. Like, it's
you
like
just slap a different label on it and bam,
exactly. Like, you really can't do that. I just think the way Ambrose has the look that he gives is more of the lunacy look, and I think that's what they were going for. But I think what the point that you make is also valid at the same time. So yeah, they need to do more to actually show that. So instead of him just giving a low blow to Brock, he definitely should have either ripped off one of the turnbuckles and thrown him head first into it, or done something like that would have seemed
Mike Tyson or something.
Yeah, do something a little crazy. Grab a blade and cut his head open or something, or whatever. Do something that seems crazy. But
didn't he wrestle in CZW? He knows all about that.
Yeah, that's the craziest place ever. So
weed whackers and
bite into his head or something. Like, do something that's a little strange. But either way, I really loved what they did with Dean on this show, because that promo he cut was awesome to me. I thought it was like that unhinged type of thing, and I really liked that they gave him that platform to speak upon. And I know there has been kind of an extra focus on Ambrose and Lesnar right now, but it's mainly to make it feel like he actually belongs in that same scenario, because I think that Reigns has been given enough at this point to feel like he belongs in that scenario. I don't think it's unfair to put Reigns against Lesnar. Last year at WrestleMania, it seemed it at the time. Now, not so much. Reigns has won the championship. He's definitely been booked a lot better. He's been put into a place that is a lot better for him and suits him better. So Reigns that's why the idea of Reigns Lesnar 2 at WrestleMania 32 is still an idea I didn't mind. But throwing Ambrose into this match, I have no problem with, because I think he will definitely add to it. He's not going to take away from it. But you do need to still make him feel like he actually belongs here. I like that he's not afraid of the challenge of Brock. He knows Brock's bigger, badder, stronger, whatever. But at the same time, he's still not afraid to call his ass out and to, get his ass kicked. And I think that's something that makes Ambrose even a more effective babyface. He really got some great pops last night. Great pops. And I don't think that's an accident. I really think Dean Ambrose is getting over for a reason. He really is good. And we're seeing a little more of how good he is, but it just needs to be consistent, and we need to actually understand the direction it's going in.
Okay, so speaking of Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar, WWE has provided us with a trio that we can focus on for this new edition of Push, Repackage, Release. Now, I have to let everybody know that the objective of Push, Repackage, Release is not to say, okay, if I was in charge of WWE, the very first thing that I would do is fire this person, okay? I don't want to fire Becky Lynch. I do not want to fire Becky Lynch, okay? Got it? You know who I'm talking to. But, yeah, the purpose of Push, Repackage, Release actually is to just look at a situation in a very, this is a very specialized scenario that would actually never occur in real life, where you're tasked with rating the attributes of 3 individuals and comparing them to each other and ranking them based off of their current characters that they're portraying on WWE TV. Who do you want to push? That's going to be the person that you push as one of your top stars. Who do you want to repackage? That's the person that you want to give them a new gimmick, give them a new character you think that they're worth saving. And unfortunately, the person that's released, that's the person that's the most expendable out of the group. So for this edition of Push Repackage Release, we are going to focus on the main eventers of WWE Fastlane: Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Brock Lesnar. Whichever you guys want to go first, go ahead and take it away. Push Repackage Release.
Yeah, so this is easy for me.
No Xavier Woods.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so yeah, release Reigns, push Lesnar, repackage Ambrose. That's all it is, because Ambrose is my favorite, potentially. I keep saying that. And I think Brock is just something that you can't afford to lose. Now, I like Reigns a lot, but look, there's nothing you can get out of Reigns that you can't get out of Ambrose. I think he fulfills the same role and more, potentially. So that's just how it's going to have to be for me. And I would consider releasing Lesnar, but you got to keep Lesnar around. I know he's beginning to run out of opponents. So that's one reason why I might consider releasing him, because there's going to come a point where this guy, like, who is he going to fight anymore, you know? But still, Lesnar is the most credible guy. He's the biggest commodity they have. And to be honest, like, there are times where this product sucks, but if Lesnar's there, I could still find something to enjoy. So I don't want to get rid of that. Whereas Reigns, it's hit or miss. He has lots of potential, but still hit or miss. And if he gets injured, I'm not gonna really be missing him all that much, So yeah, that's my push repackage release.
What are you gonna repackage Dean Ambrose into?
Oh, yeah, someone who doesn't suck. How about that? No, but it's gonna be like what me and Evan keep talking about. The guy you saw on the Terminator commercial. That's Dean Ambrose. And then Evan can't back me up right now. But yeah, the guy in that Terminator commercial is what I want to repackage him as. I want him to be this sort of like gritty, casual, just sort of badass. The Han Solo type. The guy who just, he may not be the best wrestler, he may not be the strongest guy, but he's just enough. This is a babyface Ambrose, by the way. If we're talking heel, that's a whole different story. But I'm talking babyface right now. So that's.
Can I just say that I really dislike you right now? I do.
Why? Because I broke up the Brothers in Arms. Is that why?
No, because when you mentioned Han Solo, I'm like, God damn it, that sounds good. And
yeah,
I have an agenda. I have an agenda, or I have an opinion of my own. But I guess we'll get there.
When I look at Ambrose, I actually see Harrison Ford quite a bit. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I really do. Like, I see that sort of just nonchalant, laid-back kind of guy that Han Solo portrayed. And he was one of those popular characters in Star Wars. He wasn't the main character, but he was the badass. He was the protagonist who developed from sort of a jackass to a decent, human being. So that's how I see Ambrose. And Lesnar, it's hard to say you could push Lesnar, at this point. He has nowhere to go but down, actually. So you can't really push him. So that's my way of saying I would continue to push him. I would just keep up what they're doing. That's fine. Evan, back me up on the Terminator Ambrose. The guy from the Terminator commercial.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like what we had on this past week's show was a little bit more like that in a way, honestly, because he wasn't afraid to do anything. He wasn't afraid to call somebody out. But yeah, I'd like to see him burning some cigar into somebody. I think that's a little bit more like, that crazy SOB at the same time too. Okay, for me, let's see, release. Who's going home? Man, it's tough because if Ambrose is the right version of Ambrose, then I really think he can do a lot. I really see a lot in Roman Reigns too, but yeah, I don't really want to release Roman Reigns because I am a fan of his. But out of these three right now, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna release Roman Reigns. I'm going to repackage Dean Ambrose and push Brock Lesnar. And I don't want to sound like I'm copying from Steven here, but it pretty much is exactly how I feel, because Dean Ambrose repackaged could be a great essential element as a babyface or a heel. I really can see so much with him. There's just so much room for him to grow, where I feel like Roman Reigns is more of a one-dimensional character who is working effectively right now. So it's not easy to just sit here and say, yeah, like, throw him to the wolves. But at the same time, pushing Brock Lesnar is there's really nothing else to do. You'd be crazy to release a guy like that, and there's really nowhere to repackage him at this point in time. He's too well known, well established. There's nowhere else to go with him besides that he's the beast, and I think his credibility speaks for itself. So he's gonna get the push.
Okay. You guys put me in a really tough spot here, but I'm going to go ahead and push Brock Lesnar. That guy screams legitimacy to me. I've said it before, when Brock Lesnar shows up, shit goes down, and he's one of the most powerful forces in WWE history. Like, how people used to look at Andre the Giant and just that force and that power that he wielded, and just him alone. I think Brock Lesnar does that in his entire act, or something very similar, the new age version of it, with the legitimacy that he brings to the table, with the UFC background and also the background that he had in WWE. Just adding all of that together to one complete picture, that guy is a legit monster. So very easy to push him. When it comes down to Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, who goes to the repackage, who goes to the release, I am going to have to slot Dean Ambrose in the release and Roman Reigns in the repackage. Because if we're basing what we've seen from these two guys on WWE TV, as far as I'm concerned, Roman Reigns, he's better in the ring than Dean Ambrose is. Yeah, I said it. Yup. Roman Reigns has a better moveset than Dean Ambrose does.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that.
And the thing that you said earlier, Steven, I think you said something like you said something like Dean Ambrose at his best, you think you could get more out of him than you could get out of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I believe that Roman Reigns at his best, I could get more out of him than I could possibly get out of Dean Ambrose. And that's not a slight to Dean Ambrose and who he is as a talent. It's just that I've seen glimpses of what I would like to see on a more consistent basis from Roman Reigns, and I could use that to base his character going forward. And I also talked about it in the past, making Roman Reigns into a Pentagon Jr. type figure for WWE, just this merciless beast who just goes out there, beats ass, and, you know, takes names and takes arms and uses them as collector's items. Like, I would like to see something like that for Roman Reigns. A more, not pushing him through the bastardized babyface machine that WWE has, but actually charting out his own course and letting him be the silent badass, or maybe even push him in the same vein of like a I don't know if we could go like the cerebral assassin Triple H, because as much as I like Roman Reigns, cerebral wouldn't be a word that I would use to describe him. So I don't know, but just like a big, powerful badass, you know, Pentagon Jr. type. That's what I would like to see from Roman Reigns. So that's it for our version of Push Repackage Release. Love it if you guys let us know what you thought and who you would slot into these different areas. And I'm quite sure I'm already getting it in the chat. I'm going to get it once again. Yeah, whatever. But, you know, you're more than entitled to your opinion, you know. Kudos to you, but thank you for participating nonetheless and interacting with us. And if you would like to interact with us next week, we will be on pwfempire.com live following Monday Night Raw for the purpose of previewing WWE Fastlane. That will be the go home show for that Raw will be the go home show for Fastlane. So we'll be on Monday after Raw next week. Hopefully you guys are right here, pwfempire.com, to join us. Until then, we are signing off. Peace out.